In February 2014, Russia seized Crimea, a region in Ukraine, sparking international outrage. The annexation came after Ukraine's president, Viktor Yanukovych, was ousted following protests. Russia claimed it acted to protect ethnic Russians in Crimea, but the international community saw it as an aggressive land grab. The annexation violated international law and Ukraine's sovereignty. Western nations condemned Russia and imposed sanctions. The United Nations General Assembly also passed a resolution affirming Ukraine's territorial integrity. Despite this, Russia solidified its control over Crimea, holding a disputed referendum where voters supposedly chose to join Russia. This event marked a significant escalation in tensions between Russia and the West. It also set the stage for further conflict in eastern Ukraine. The annexation of Crimea remains a contentious issue and a key point of contention in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war.
Following the annexation of Crimea, conflict spread to eastern Ukraine, particularly in the Donbas region. Pro-Russian separatists with support from Russia took control of parts of Donetsk and Luhansk. This marked the beginning of the Donbas War in April 2014. The Ukrainian government launched military operations to regain control. The fighting was intense, causing significant casualties and displacement. Russia provided military support to the separatists, including weapons and fighters, though it denied direct involvement. This external support made it difficult for Ukraine to quell the rebellion. International efforts to broker peace included the Minsk Agreements in 2015. These accords aimed to cease hostilities and find a political solution. However, both sides frequently violated the ceasefire, and a lasting peace remained elusive. The Donbas War continued to smolder, creating a humanitarian crisis and setting the stage for further escalation.
In February 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This marked a significant escalation in the conflict. The invasion followed months of military build-up along the Ukrainian border. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the operation, citing the need to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine, claims widely dismissed as pretexts. The Ukrainian military and civilian population mounted a fierce resistance. Major cities, including Kyiv, faced heavy bombardment. Despite initial gains, Russian forces encountered logistical and operational challenges. The international community condemned the invasion, with many countries providing support to Ukraine. The invasion caused widespread destruction and a significant humanitarian crisis. Millions of Ukrainians fled their homes, seeking refuge within the country and abroad. The conflict drew global attention, highlighting the urgent need for a resolution and raising concerns about broader geopolitical stability. The Russia-Ukraine war has significantly altered territorial control and political dynamics in the region. Russia initially captured large swathes of Ukrainian territory, but Ukrainian forces have launched successful counteroffensives, regaining key areas. The control of regions such as Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhzhia remains contested. Political influence is also at stake. Russia seeks to install pro-Russian administrations in occupied territories, undermining Ukraine's sovereignty. Ukraine, on the other hand, strives to maintain its independence and territorial integrity. The war has galvanized a sense of national identity and unity among Ukrainians. Internationally, the conflict has strained Russia's relations with Western nations, while strengthening Ukraine's ties with Europe and the United States. The geopolitical landscape is shifting, with alliances and enmities being reshaped by the ongoing war. The fight for territorial control and political influence continues with no clear end in sight.
Section 5. Humanitarian impacts of the conflict. The war has had devastating humanitarian impacts. Millions of Ukrainians have been displaced, both internally and as refugees in other countries. Cities and towns have been destroyed, leaving countless people without homes, access to basic services, or livelihoods. The conflict has also led to significant loss of life. Civilian casualties mount daily due to bombings, shelling, and other military actions. Humanitarian organizations have struggled to provide aid amidst the chaos, with access to affected areas often restricted by ongoing fighting. The psychological toll on the population is immense. Many have experienced trauma and loss, and the disruption of daily life has long-term consequences. Efforts to address the humanitarian crisis are ongoing, but the scale of the disaster presents enormous challenges. The need for a peaceful resolution is urgent to alleviate the suffering of millions.
Section 6. Western countries' response. Western countries have played a crucial role in responding to the Russia-Ukraine war. They have condemned Russia's actions and provided extensive support to Ukraine. This support includes financial aid, military assistance, and humanitarian relief. The United States and European Union have been at the forefront of these efforts. They have supplied Ukraine with weapons, training, and intelligence support. Additionally, Western nations have hosted Ukrainian refugees and provided significant humanitarian aid to support those affected by the conflict. Diplomatically, Western countries have worked to isolate Russia on the global stage. They have rallied support from international organizations and forged stronger alliances to counter Russian aggression. The Western response underscores the international community's commitment to upholding Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Section 7 sanctions against Russia. Sanctions have been a key tool used by Western countries to pressure Russia. These measures aim to weaken Russia's economy and military capabilities, thereby reducing its ability to sustain the war. Sanctions target various sectors, including finance, energy, and technology. The financial sanctions have hit Russia's banking system hard, restricting access to international markets and freezing assets. Energy sanctions aim to reduce Russia's revenue from oil and gas exports, a major source of funding for its military efforts. Technology sanctions limit Russia's access to critical components needed for its military and industrial sectors. Despite the impact of sanctions, Russia has sought to mitigate their effects by turning to alternative markets and domestic production. The effectiveness of sanctions remains a topic of debate, but they have undoubtedly strained Russia's economy and complicated its war efforts. Continued sanctions are expected as long as the conflict persists.
Section 8. Military aid and support for Ukraine. Military aid has been vital for Ukraine's defense against Russian aggression. Western countries have provided a wide range of military support, including weapons, ammunition, and training. This aid has significantly enhanced Ukraine's military capabilities. The United States has been one of the largest contributors of military aid to Ukraine. This includes advanced weaponry such as anti-tank missiles, artillery systems, and air defense systems. European countries have also provided substantial support, contributing to Ukraine's ability to resist and counter Russian advances. The provision of military aid has been crucial in leveling the playing field. Ukrainian forces have used these resources effectively, achieving notable successes on the battlefield. However, the ongoing need for military support underscores the protracted nature of the conflict and the challenges ahead.
Section 9. Diplomatic efforts and peace talks. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the Russia-Ukraine conflict have been ongoing but fraught with challenges. Various parties have attempted to mediate and broker peace, including the United Nations, European Union, and individual countries. However, achieving a lasting ceasefire and political solution has proven elusive. Ceasefire agreements, such as the Minsk agreements, have frequently been violated. Trust between the parties is low, and the complexities of the conflict make negotiations difficult. Russia's demands and Ukraine's insistence on maintaining its sovereignty and territorial integrity often clash, hindering progress. Despite these challenges, diplomatic efforts continue. The international community remains committed to finding a peaceful resolution. Various proposals and plans have been put forward, but a comprehensive and lasting solution remains out of reach. The search for peace is ongoing, with hopes for a breakthrough in the future.
Section 10. Current situation and ongoing fighting. As of September 2024, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine remains unresolved. Fighting continues in various regions, with both sides making gains and suffering losses. The situation remains fluid, with the front lines shifting frequently. Ukrainian forces continue to defend their territory, bolstered by Western support. Russia, despite facing significant challenges, persists in its military campaign. The humanitarian crisis endures, and the need for aid and support is as urgent as ever. Efforts to find a peaceful resolution are ongoing, but significant obstacles remain. The international community continues to push for negotiations and a ceasefire. The situation is complex, and achieving lasting peace will require considerable effort and compromise from all parties involved. The world watches and hopes for an end to the conflict and the restoration of peace in Ukraine.